Property of the district of Liberec. This is an area of a former military airport. It's forbidden to drive in, it's forbidden to walk, it's forbidden to have dogs running around and so on. But I would like to see it. Should I go in? Will I be harassed by police or anyone, someone, or will I be shot at the sunrise? The only way to find out is to go there and we will see what happens. And I guess there is a second runway, maybe 100 meters from here. Not sure if you can see it. The airport was built by Wehrmacht, Luftwaffe actually, the Nazi Air Force, in 1945, I think. Then, when the Soviets occupied in 1968 the Czech Republic, they took over, extended it, and they were ready for the attack from the west, I guess. This is just an auxiliary road. The runway, the actual runway, is in the middle. And here are the bunkers. Locals call them beehives, where the Soviet MiGs were stored. I'm actually pointing at the start or end of the runway, depends how you look at it, and it's quite long, and I will continue that way. We will see what we will see there, but not much is left besides the runway, the two roads, on one of which I am standing right now, and numerous concrete bunkers where Russians, Soviets, Soviet Army, Red Army stored and hid their fighter MiGs. And there is quite a lot of them on both sides of the runway. Usually kind of under the trees or close to the trees, and they also grew some bushes on top of them. I guess that was for hiding it from the piercing eyes in the skies. And we have a beautiful view. There are some hills, and on top of each hill is some ruins or some former castle, I guess. And this all is a part of the fourth biggest town or city in Czech Republic. Even though less than 3,000 people live here, is the fourth biggest, largest, based on the land. It covers, this town covers about 300 square kilometers, mostly of forests and wild land. And as I mentioned, less than 3,000 people live here in this town. And the town itself is not a one unit or one municipality. It's actually 9 villages, and altogether it's one town called Ralsko, which is named after a hill. And I guess this may be that hill right there. A runway ahead of me. Maybe we should take a ride on the runway. What do you think? Only authorized vehicles. Well, I'm not authorized. So just imagine, back in the day, during the Cold War, Russians were hiding, storing their MiGs in those bunkers. They are called by locals beehives. and there is quite a few of them. If he can get in, but doesn't look like it really. Wow, that was massive. So it was on the rails, and the gate opened, they pulled out the make, and here was the runway, and that was it. Ready on a short notice. It's still kind of surviving, and it was covered with soil and some vegetation grew on, I imagine, back in the day, painted green, so it was not visible from the skies. But I'm very sure NATO and the US knew about this even all those years ago. There is quite a few of them on each side of the runway, and I see on the other side that either it's open or one of them is missing the gate, so I'll try to get there. It's being used, but not by military, so this is how it looks and how you close it. Okay, both sides, left and right, slowly closing. This place was absolutely huge. Here is another construction, and they are everywhere in the forest. It's just like mushrooms after rain. And what do we have here? Not much. Old tires. Here another gate. Doesn't seem to be locked. There is no padlock, but oh wow. Too optimistic. Cannot. Oh yeah, I can. But it's too dark. I don't think we will see much. Oh, someone stayed here? No, just a lot of garbage. Oh wow, Druzhba. It means friendship in Russian, I think. Okay, let's hope there are no unexploded mines. So just think about it. There used to be 40,000 Soviets with their families in the Russian army at that time, mostly conscripts, so no families. So it was young, single guys living, working here, and the officers had families with them. So out of those 40,000 people, I would guess majority were active Soviet personnel, not the families. So it was a huge, huge town in the forest, a huge base, a huge military installment. And I see between the trees another construction. There is a top of another one. There is another wall or something, just everywhere around the runway. This place is massive, and it was massively contaminated by the Red Army. And heavily mined on the outskirts. to this day. Actually, it's dangerous to walk in the forest. Not everything was cleaned. This is the main runway, and it's pretty long and wide. The Czech army is considering activating this airport and using it again. But some locals are against it, not necessarily because they approve of Russia attacking Ukraine, but because they don't want to have their environment messed up again, because it was really destroyed here during the Soviet occupation. Soil contaminated, unexploded ammunition still in the forest. There are signs that say enter at your own risk and so on. And someone is landing, and obviously it's not a Soviet make. The Soviet Red Army used to live here from 1968 for the next 30 years when they occupied Czechoslovakia. And it's in disrepair. No one wants to live here, obviously. But it was a massive place. Those buildings are quite numerous. I can see at least 1, 2, 3, 4 just by the road. And there may be more in other areas. Another little building that the Russians built. And it says here, land for sale. Yeah, I don't see many takers. Nature will reclaim all this eventually, I think. This will be the end of today's video. I hope you liked it or found it interesting. At least I did. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Goodbye.